Hello, Lighthouse. I've been asked to share my testimony. I was brought up in a Christian home and asked Jesus into my heart at the age of 5. I attended an evangelical church and had a good grounding through Sunday school, Christian Endeavour, youth club and girls' brigade. Not a Damascus experience, but looking back over my life, one thread has been God's guidance. There are 3 forms of guidance. God's word, not searching for something to fit our own agenda though. God-given circumstances, wise counsel. Sometimes we are given just one of these, other times all 3. I have known God's guidance over who I married, jobs that led me to working in a school as bursar, secretary in Kent. That led me later on to Gresham's as PA to the bursar. After 7 years there, beginning to feel it was time not to continue to be full-time, when Brian asked me to become the church administrator, bringing my past experience to the post. One major change in our lives was to move to Norfolk, when God certainly had to make sure we listened to his guidance. Our daughter wanted to visit our son on his gap year as a sailing instructor at Fellowship Afloat in Essex. We needed a break, so we're looking for somewhere to stay for the weekend. To cut a long story short, we ended up at Tudor Christian Guest House, Cromer, run by Faith and Peter Dawson. Not our usual type of break. We had never been to Norfolk. We benefited from Peter's ministry and enjoyed exploring the area. The day we left, I was in the garden to buy plants that Faith sold for missionary funds. It was the first time I had to chat with her. I commented on the house and was told it was up for sale, but had not any interest. Out of the blue, she asked if I would be interested. She left that as a throwaway comment and went off to find change for my purchases. By the time she came back, I decided to ask how much it was worth, wanting to dismiss the thought. Coming from Kent, a house that size would be way beyond our means. Next thing, with no warning, Ivor was trying to understand why we were being shown the private side of the house and details. What was going on? Ivor was due to retire from the police in 2 years. We thought we might do something together, but a guest house was certainly not on the list. The next weekend, we were at our church on Parade Sunday. We were GB and BB captains. We were saying goodbye to a retired minister and his wife, and he preached from Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord said to Abram, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." I remember trying to shrink in my seat. I'd only lived in Kent, and my parents were still local. We were still trying to take this all in. We took our older brigade members for a weekend of sailing back at Fellowship Afloat. We drove 2 groups in separate minibuses. We had learned a shortcut in Tiptree, using a side road of a triangle. When I arrived, I asked Ivor if he had seen it on the road. What? He had seen nothing. There was a retarmacked strip across this side road, and on it was painted in yellow the word Cromer. I couldn't believe it was only me that had seen it. We checked it was there later and took a photograph. God was making sure we were listening to him. More was to follow, telling Faith and Peter that we would need to wait for Lorna to take her A-levels. They were with friends praying about the only folk to show interest, this couple from Kent, when our letter arrived. Ivor needed to leave the police, we had to sell our house, but we finally moved to Cromer, and as they say, the rest is history. A lot of guidance has been to us as a couple, but this time God made sure I was aware of his leading. Assurance that was needed when times were hard. And that was often the case, being stuck in the kitchen cooking for up to 28 people. Lockdown has reminded me of that time when often my only escape was to go shopping for food. If you have listened to this and would like to know more about God's leading in your life, email hello@lighthousesheringham.org and you will be contacted by someone to help you. If you are already a Christian, be assured by Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that God's plans for you in the big and small things are the best way, even when they may surprise you. God bless.